This is Suzanne Wagner. Thank you for joining me. I am doing the Numerology and Astrology for May 18th, 2021. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 19. And if you add the 1 and the 9 together, you get the number 10. The number 10 is the number of radiance and power, boldness and courage. If you collapse the 10 and you add the 1 and the 0 together, you get the number 1. The number 1 is about individuality and self-expression, claiming who you are. The number 10 is about power and radiance and boldness and courage. And I always like to combine these two because I think that authentic power, so authenticity would be the 1, power would be the 10, is probably one of the most powerful forces on the planet because, as has been clear for the last many years, that there are a lot of people that can have power without conscience and without the ability to have compassion for others. And so when you are aware of what is being authentically expressed through you, and you try and you do your very best to express that authenticity in a powerful, radiant, courageous sort of way, I think you can have a really powerful and strong impact on the world. And right now, we have a day that says, hey, why not do that? Why not be powerful? Why not make the necessary changes that are required in life? And it sounds easy, but it is often difficult to step up and step into fulfilling your own life. Sometimes we are comfortable in our stagnation. In yoga, they have a special word for stagnation because once you're in stagnation, it's really hard to get out of stagnation. And then once you're out of stagnation, it's much more easy to maintain that energy flow. And we've been in a year, of 2020 that was stagnant on a lot of levels. And so now we're starting to open up again, and we're starting to feel like, hey, maybe we can get going. And where life is now requiring us to get up and go, no matter what. And there is always more life out there if you are willing to grab it. And that's how we discover those mysteries that exist within us. The astrology today. The moon bounces around in the Tigger-like way that is Leo. Enjoy the vitality and energy of this warm sign and let that smile out and share it with the world. That's going to be even more critically important because Venus and Chiron are kind of in a minor square to Pluto, and that brings tension to the smile trying to get out. So don't make your smile look forced or like, so sort of like, I know I'm saying smile, but some people may not feel like smiling. And so when I'm in that state, I try and say what opens love. And a relaxed, calm smile that is just simply saying, I see you with your eyes, can be enough. But because Venus and Chiron are kind of squaring Pluto, it might be wise to leave others alone. And I'm doing that in this process at the moment. I mean, we just dealt with a major birthday party for my mom and the family dynamic. And last night I could just see that my sister was really exhausted. She was, she'd had house guests, and, she's a doctor and she works at the COVID clinic, and she's at the COVID clinic today, and it's stressful. It's really stressful. And sometimes you just need to feel into that space and recognize that you need to leave other people alone. And, but a smile is still worth a lot to someone who is exhausted, maybe afraid, and maybe insecure, maybe overwhelmed. And we live in a world where trust is hard to find. And after being alone for over a year with the COVID and learning how to deal with the daily stresses of life, we're kind of now trying to learn to let others back in. And that's wonderful as life is sort of returning, but it might feel a bit more difficult than anticipated. I mean, my sister and I even talked about it last night that, we've become really a hermit. Like, we're not really that interested in physically being in the presence of a lot of people. I said to my sister, the thought of a concert is so overwhelming to my brain of being in a crush of people. As a psychic, I just, my brain is like, whoa, I don't think I want to do that. Okay, so yeah, maybe we've all become loners in this last year. It's possible. Life is teaching us so many things at this time, and learning to be at a new place and a new pace and be more introspective, I don't think is a bad thing. But now we need to learn how to reintegrate into life and connect in healthy ways with others. I think what was great about 2020 is that while we value relationships, I mean, some toxic ones have been let go of during this pandemic, and you just literally didn't have the bandwidth and the space and the energy to engage with people that were going to be exhausting. You were already exhausted yourself. And I think that was a good thing, to get rid of toxic people and toxic situations and reprioritize. But now it is time to reintegrate into healthy ones instead. The question is healthy ones, and the question is, what do you value now? We are restructuring our relationships and also our financial picture, which hopefully this pandemic has gotten all of us in a better fiscal balance and some debt paid off, which was definitely my case. And Mars and Jupiter will square, making new things interesting and attractive. And some may feel agitated and distracted, and others may feel some jealousy or competitive edges. It's important to use life force energy more constructively right now. I know that if we seem to think that we are always right, know that that is not necessarily true. Today, especially, overconfidence might be a sign of poor decisions today. If you think you know, maybe you should wait for a few days till the square is over. And picking fights is not going to solve problems anyway. So, my quote on my blog today are related to just, I don't watch the news. I mean, I try desperately not to watch the news, but because I'm at my mother's house and she's 85, and she is watching television, not that much, maybe 3 hours a day, but that's more than I normally do. And so we were watching the news, and it was like, oh my God, Israel and the bombs going off on the Palestinians. And it's like, oh my God. It's like, so my quote and my blog today is reflecting that. My quote for today: bombs are still falling. Why is that so? Haven't we learned that this never goes in the way that makes life safe and sound? Such stupidity constantly astounds. When will we learn? When will it change? When will we learn that those so deranged are a threat to the peace that was promised and primed? Bombs take us backwards and are horribly ill-timed. And my blog today, I tried to warn about the tensions and the escalation of war in my yearly predictions, and also around, and I said specifically around April 23rd. Now, while my timing was wrong, it was clearly a few weeks later, I still want to say that's pretty good considering everything. And this Middle East Israeli conflict is concerning, and I wish that humanity could learn to allow everyone to have space and peace. I mean, but we clearly have not evolved enough yet to see that peace is more important than anything. May those in power realize that bombs are not the path. May those with influence realize that when someone is a sociopath, why do we waste money on war and hate when we could do so much more to change this world's fate? There is more than enough to go around if politicians would not back down from those that intentionally buy their vote with pieces of silver and a banknote. I'm tired of those who can see only their side, and they do not even try their bias to hide. They should be ashamed, but that just proves that they are mentally ill. Such souls care not for others because of their emotional growth is at a standstill. Take the time to make sure your soul grows. Make sure you listen to those who can give your soul depth and care. They will hold you up when you despair. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.